My director wasn't very good there. Turned all the cameras on, and well, you know, but didn't signal me that we should get rolling. So there, blame my director and camera guy for that. Well, I'm continuing to work very slowly, I guess, on this Shelby GT-350 model. I did some spray painting Wednesday afternoon and yesterday, and well, let's see what happened. Okay, it wasn't that much of it now that I think about it, but it took a while. I I fixed the scratches that I had put on the sides here when I was messing around with the seats and didn't know what I was doing. But I still need to paint the door handles and window cranks, and that's not going to happen today. Just not. I did a lot of physical labor yesterday that involved being on my knees scrubbing stuff for like 4 hours, I think, and everything hurts. Just everything. So I'll just say that if I make groany noises or something like that, that's why. Um, well, what did I do? I painted the shock absorber springs, and I said what I was going to do with them. And this is something I can do. This is a bunch of just little parts that need to be, you know, attached to the car eventually. This is the spring over shock. Now I have to be really careful what I'm doing here. I've got the steering column with the turn signal lever that keeps wanting to break. Those two bits. And then I've got the dashboard. I can maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll start working on that. Kind of doubt it. I wish that I'm gonna bust that again. I just know it just keeps flopping around. I should put it in a container of its own. Oh, the steering wheel. I think I'm gonna work on the steering wheel today. Why not? Do that. Hmm. No matter what I do, I'm gonna break it. I can just tell. I can just tell that that is a part that's destined for doomness, be doomed. Doomeration. Oh, see, I have to apologize. I accidentally hit caps lock when I put the "What are we painting" stuff up, and it all came out in all caps, and then I just didn't feel like redoing it. So that's what it is. It's just all in caps. But that's why it was an accidental button bump. Yeah, what did I do? Suddenly this doesn't. Oh, that's what. Yeah, I kept my glasses on, and I end up seeing double when I'm looking at something up close. I'm going to stick this way up in the corner here, and eventually that will get stuck onto the car. The technical term for assembly is stick things on. Um, well, let me show you what I painted. I painted those little shock things. I repainted the inside, which I'm not going to eventually someday. When I get brave enough to paint the door handle and the window crank. I tried that once and messed up. Um, Painting the bottom of the car, and I have to put more paint on it. It looks okay on the top here. Okay, the engine bay came out okay, but the bottom, I was painting the inside here where the headliner and all of this shows. But then I was thinking, well, I didn't completely paint around the wheel wells. And when I did that, I was like, well, that's just not going to be a problem. That won't be an issue. Um, but then I looked at the instructions, and the bottom goes in here, but this, like some of these parts might show, and I want them to be black and not look like they were just oversprayed white. So I need to paint the inside of this again. And when I do that, I'll have to flip it over and I'll put the matte coat, recoat this. So this needs to be done. That's not going to delay things because this isn't going to, nothing much is going to happen with this until much later in the painting process. Okay. There's the whole body needs to be painted blue with a white stripe. So this just needs to be done again. So I'll just leave it in here, leave it upside down. Under here is the dashboard. Let's see how that came out. Why does it look like there's a light? It looks like it's not covered well. I'm going to just give that a quick spray here. I usually don't do this in the down here, but this is just going to be quick. It's not covered right on top. I don't know what's going on with that. It's like there's always something, right? Well, maybe this is just an excuse to not get things done today. I don't know. Like it says, not much done. Took a long time. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be right back. it'll eventually dry and I'll see how it looks. Okay, well, things are mostly a failure. This needs to be repainted, so I'll do that over the weekend. This is my take care of this later box. Knock into it, and if I bump into it, I'll not forget it. This. So what I'm going to do is this is probably a total waste of time, but I'm going to do it anyway. Is the springs over shocks? Okay, it's flat, and I'm going to paint the tops of the springs glossy, just so that they stand out a little bit, which is kind of a pointless thing because once they're installed, you won't really see them. I'm probably going to scratch the black paint doing this. I'll have to retouch it all. Spend a lot of time going back and forth retouching paint that got scratched or painted over or otherwise requires redoing. I need the glossy black. This is flat black because I wrote flat on it. That's how I can remember which one it is. This is the one that's kind of glossy. I'm going to be kind of almost dry brushing, kind of almost, sort of. Because I just want to give the appearance of shininess on the coils of the springs and um, not paint down into the uh, space between them where the shock absorber is. And this probably would make sense if these were, more exposed. I'm not sure it'll even show. I don't know. I did this on the Lotus Ford because the springs over shocks did show. And so I painted two different tones of metallic. Yeah, this will either be a waste of like 5 minutes of everybody's life, or it'll look good. And who can tell in advance, right? Every 5 minutes of our lives might be a wasted 5 minutes, even if we think it's not wasted, even if we think we're doing something really important, like putting dishes in the washing dishes or putting them away after they've been washed. Well, that might be like totally invisible in the long run, but I did it. So I did something. That might be it. That might be pretty much it for today. Um, the steering wheel. The steering wheel is really complicated, actually, in terms of painting. Um, Let me see pictures of it here. If you might recall, this is how it's supposed to look. If you look at the instructions, you can see that the steering wheel provided with the car was not correct. See, it had these drill holes in it. It's like the stock Mustang. But every picture I've seen of the GT350 has a steering wheel like that. And so I cut them out and it came out okay. It doesn't look perfect, but it looks better than it did. So the steering wheel is going to be painted the silver. The spokes are the silver color, right? And then the wheel is wood. And I'm going to test several different paints and washes today. And then the hub in the middle is there's a black circle with white in the center, and then the whole thing is covered with like an acrylic dome or something that that I'm going to try to simulate the yeah. So I think I'm going to start by painting the silver. Looks like the whole thing is silvered. Yeah, actually that is okay. This whole thing. And then should I paint it on two? If I grip that, yeah. I want to paint the back and then the front. And then I'm going to try to paint I'm going to paint the white in the middle, which has a big indentation in it. And then I'm going to paint the black, and then I'll touch up the silver around it because I won't get that perfect. But yeah, I can do this. I can do some painting. I will put my head magnifiers on for this. I think I will do that. Just going to leave it on the cardboard. I can see that better. So yeah, if I get working on this, at least I'll say I did something today. I said at the beginning I might not go. I'm feeling very achy from the work I did yesterday. The other thing I did is we have a space heater, one of these oil-filled space heaters, and I set that up down here. See, maybe it'll keep it from getting so cold. Because it doesn't get chilly. It is chilly, but as I am down here longer and longer, feels colder and colder. Yeah, the lenses didn't fall off this time. How about that? And as before, I'm going to add water to it. Just little bits. The paint is really viscous. I'm not succeeding in doing that. Here. Now I have it way too thin. Just can't win, can I? Nope. Either not enough water or way too much. No. Let's see what happens. Mm. Let's see. Yeah, it's not really working. Maybe it is. It's shiny. But pretty much I just messed up by attempting to thin this just a little bit and ended up thinning it a lot. So I'm going to I may end up having to put two coats on. It means painting the steering wheel could end up, it'll just end up taking all the time. No, there. It's shiny so far. I'll look at it again after the paint dries. See how that goes. The dash. This gets silvered too. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Most of this is kind of, there's a lot of black on it. Okay. I'm getting a little better idea as I do this about I'm going to need to paint it. Yeah, I may have to come back and repaint this many times. Because I want it to end up kind of looking like this. Okay. But you can see how intricate it is. Um, there's chrome around the edges. Okay. Like even around these little lights, these are warning lights. But most of it is flat black. It's just the very, very edge. It's chromed. And then there's numbers on the speedometer. I'm going to try to do that with chalk pencil. Okay, I'm getting a better idea of what has to be done here and how it will be done. Hmm. Yeah, okay. Got a rogue bristle going on. It's always a problem. One bristle breaks away from the rest of them. And when painting a little really fine detail, that's a real problem. And if it doesn't go here, then it needs to be cut off. There's one that was already partially cut off, but not completely. Mhm. It's not too bad. I'm going to let that dry. And the same thing with the dash. I'm going to work on the dashboard today yet, I think. But I'm going to do some tests of different combinations of brownish colors with different washes to try to get the color of the steering wheel. So I'm going to do some paint test swatches on this. I'm going to get several shades of light brown. Um, buff. Flat earth. Might be too dark. Yellow. It's too yellow. This isn't. What have I got in the other? What have I got in the other kinds of brown? I think I've got. Yeah, I need to start with buff. Bone white. Bone white. I can tell right off this is too dark. I'm not even going to bother with it. But bone white might work. And cork brown is too dark. Looks like I've only got two candidates. Yeah, I might try this anyway. Bone white. I don't know why. It's really pretty brown. Quite brown. And I probably should label them so that I know which is which. This will be buff. This will be bone white. And this will be flat earth. Huh. I love that name. And then I've got three different colors of washes I can put on them. So I'm going to make pretty big test batches. Yeah, this is something I can do even on a Friday when everything aches. Since I can put splotches of paint on a piece of paper like this. Look at that. I don't know why all of these paints are up here. I'm not using any of them. Just in the way. Ah, grief. Oh, that was good. Yeah, you probably heard that, but you didn't see it. I was putting it away, and I bumped it into the stand for the ring, and it went flying. Yeah, this is a good thing. I am not trying to paint the door handles today. That would be, you can just tell what a disaster that would be. This needs a good deal more stirring before it can. If this were glossy, it would actually be not a bad color. I should be monologuing about something. Um, I can't think of anything. Nothing's coming to mind. Now there, I've got 3 color samples, and those will dry in about 20 minutes, half hour or so, and then I'll test some washes on it. I might as well get those out, get some more jars to clutter things up here. I think that would be a good idea. Just clutter things up a little more. But I am going to be off camera for just a bit because I have to pick up that container of paint that I knocked onto the floor, which fortunately stayed capped there. Okay. Now, since I'm up here off camera, I'm over here. I've got dark brown. I've got smoky ink. That's a good one. I like smoky ink. I've got umber. These are the 3 washes that I will use on these 3 browns. See which of them comes closest to looking like the color of the wooden steering wheel. Set this aside while it's drying. I'm going to paint this on the other side. And I'm going to take these shock absorbers. I don't know. I'm not sure anything really came of that, but I'm going to go in the already painted tiny little pieces box. There. That didn't work. Okay. 2/3 of everything I've touched so far, I have knocked over. Well done. There it is. Okay. It was like 8, 10 different bottles of paint, none of which really need to be out here. Well, 2 of them. I had magnifiers back on. when one of the dogs saw something. No idea what that ever is. Somebody walking along the street, deer in the yard. Who knows? Who knows what that is? She's barking away. Okay, well, that'll do for now. Guess I'm going to do this. I'm going to paint. I'm going to try to paint this a little more with some flat black paint and use this. I think this will be flow a little better. I don't know how this is going to go, but like I said, I'm trying to make it look kind of like the dashboard in the picture. And I could have spray painted it black to begin with, and then just put some chrome and stuff on it. But these paints don't adhere very well to the spray paint. It's just a different formulation. Use this. It's got a very, very tiny tip on it. Jeez, that just came flying out of there. Okay. Well, this is going to be just me doing really little bits of paint. Ooh, that might be a phone call I have to take, in which case I will be a while. I forgot to mention that earlier there. I was hoping for a phone call. Oh, okay. Okay. I need to sign off here for just, this might be a while. Okay. I'll be back as soon as I can. I have to go back up. Hello? Yes. Oh, thank you. Okay, well, you got to watch paint dry, I guess. I'm back more quickly than I thought I might be, which is good. And let's see if this paint is still good. And I can get the brush to work. Let's see how much of this dash I can sort of kind of paint. I'm going to paint over the speedometer. This is actually black with white highlights. And I'm going to try a technique I used once before on some tires. A white chalk pencil. And it's possible. Just a touch. Yeah, I can't do this at the same time. I'm gonna have to repeat some of the bezel there. It's not awful, but that one didn't come up. Excuse me, just page or something. Yeah, kind of really ragged edge. Okay, you can kind of see if I get these right and these right, edges better. But these buttons are supposed to be black in the middle. Well, actually, they're warning lights. And if you can see them here, they're inset, and there's little. See how that is? The chrome around the outside. Hmm. I'm pretty sure that if I go back and forth a couple of times, I can get the raggedness off of this edge. De Deragged the edge. Paint. Hmm. It looks pretty ragged right now. Hmm. Sort sort of not too terrible. Hmm. Yeah, well, it's not going to be perfect, but at a distance on the inside of the car, I think I can get that so it's presentable. Not much more than that, though. I have to use the really, really teeny tiny brush, though, I think, for the next steps. Mm, uh-huh. Okay, well, what I can do next, I think this paint is I can test some washes on these to see how they look. I will do umber on top, and then brown, and then smoky. Oh, I know what I should have done. Okay, before I do that, here's another painting black. Is the circle here. Just the black circle. No, the tip of the brush isn't working. So it's going to take some back and forth. It helps to stick one's finger in it, doesn't it? And for all the care I'm taking, it's just not looking good. Mm, a little bit of an arc there. Close to how it's supposed to look. There's going to be some back and forth in here. Mm-hmm. Well, when I get the silver paint going back in the other direction, we'll see how that goes. I myself put those in the center, and then I'll know where they are. I don't know how that got over there. This brush has been really worn out. It started out as 10-0, and now it's like a 40-0 as the bristles have come off. I found that to be the case. I buy a 20-0 or a 30-0 brush, and it's not really usable until half the bristles are gone. Umber, yep, umber wash. Mm. This is brown. Okay. And then this is the smoky ink, which is kind of a reddish color. Well, it looks like the bone white. The bone. Ugh, okay. Well, yeah. There. Haven't stuck my finger in anything in a while. I dripped some of the wash on that. This is kind of a reddish tone. Um, I'm thinking the bone white with the smoky ink. This one here is kind of close. It's pretty close to that. The buff with the smoky ink. It's pretty close. Mm. No, I'm gonna go. It's because it's a little lighter. I'm gonna go with the bone white with the smoky ink on it. I think that'll look good. Flat Earth is too dark. This is close though. I'm gonna try one more thing. Try this because I'm looking at the smoky ink on the paper and it's looking actually not too bad. I'm gonna try this. This is ivory, which is a really almost white color. I'm gonna try the brown and the smoky ink on this once it's dried. The umber The umber is right out. All right, I'm going to go back to the dashboard and see if I can't clean this up and make it look a little bit more dashboardy. And then I need to do something with the speedometer. I'm actually going to try. I'm going to try this now. I've done this before. It's there's two things I can do. One is find the pencil. If it's raised up enough, I can just touch it. Like that. No, that's not. Just gonna leave that. You can kind of, yeah. I mean, you can kind of see it there. That kind of worked. Okay, I'm gonna get the silver paint back out and try to clean this up as much as I can. We go back and forth maybe a couple times. I'm not sure. I'm gonna use the itty bitty brush and work my way around. Yeah, messed up already. Somehow paint down deep in there. Oh, and you're not getting any monologue at all today, are you? Just doing all this little detail work. I don't have anything to talk about, really, really to talk about. And so, silence. There's a tiny little bit of dirt or something there that just is in the way of the paint. Okay, well, except for the corner there where I messed up. It's getting better. Do some tiny bits of black touch up on that. Too bad. Well, you probably have learned this by now. That I can't do tiny dots of paint and talk at the same time. This can't be done. So that's what's happening here. is there's tiny dots of paint and not talking at the same time. Okay, let's see what I can do with these buttons. Okay, well, what's going to happen here is I'm going to come back with the black paint and do teeny little touch-ups, but mostly I'd say this doesn't look too bad. Let's see what I can do with this. The paint's drying up as well. I'm gonna declare that a success. Tiny bits of unevenness. You know, I need to decide what to do with the middle. I need to fill that in. Um, it's white, but it's got this weird little logo. I'm gonna get. This is gonna be a little weird. What I really want is some thick white paint. I'm gonna slowly fill that divot in. I could put filler in there. Try that. Just messed up my brush. It's actually working pretty well. Good, good stuff. Okay, this needs tiny little spots of black paint. Guess I should go ahead and just try this and try to get it done. I need the tiniest little touch. I decided not to focus. Okay, move on. One lens, two or no lens. Just can't tell. Wait, what's happening? Yeah, I haven't said anything in a while, have I? But I'm getting the dashboard painted, and it's looking okay. Yeah, until it didn't. Nice. Yeah, just trying to do just that one tiny touch. Much. This is leave it alone time. I need to do any more here. The filler in the middle is actually kind of working. I'm going to put a little bit more in, raise it up just a bit. Or maybe we'll declare that a victory. Okay. Hi, Aman. Oh, I missed paying attention to you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know it's really here. This is the dashboard. I think that came out okay. I think that looks all right. What do you think? You know, the edges are not perfect, okay, but I think it looks pretty decent. And then the steering wheel, I have to paint the wheel itself, but the spokes and the center hub came out kind of good as well. Came out kind of good. Okay. Came out kind of okay. I'm just gonna set this in here. We'll leave the dashboard. I don't know. Why can't I just be satisfied and just let it be? Why can't I just do that? I'm gonna set that, take this off. No, I'm just gonna leave it on there. Ah, yeah, the glasses are on. I'm going to clean brushes now. And how did you have your session? How did it go? I think that was on Wednesday, wasn't it? Come on. Yeah, I just like totally got totally silent there because I was doing tiny little bits of good grief. I have to put my glasses on in order to put the shields on the bristles. Oh, what's all that buildup? Need a clean thing here. Need a clean towel because I've got these little metallic specks from the metallic paint get on everything. It's like glitter. It gets on everything and you can't ever get rid of it. A rogue bristle. Yeah, one of the bristles gets bent and then it's just a disaster waiting to happen. I get all the paint out of these brushes as much as I can. Just builds up on them. Okay, two cleaned up. And what I was going to do, thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. I really like it when you join in on chat and talk about your character. Um, I'm testing different combinations of paint and wash for the steering wheel so that it looks, color wise, kind of like the wood in the real car, like that, like that. This is a little overexposed, but you can see it's kind of a reddish color. I think it's stained maple, maybe. It doesn't look like mahogany. But I've got two washes, and I tried it on the bone white, and it came out kind of okay. But I want to test it on this really light color because I think it might work even better. Brown and um, smoky ink. And what I need to do soon, I think the heater's helping. But put on a space heater. Not like outer space. That would be fun, wouldn't it? But just heating a small space heater. Because I get kind of chilled down here. I think I think this is going to work. I'm going to use the ivory and put the smoky ink wash on it. Definitely, that's the plan. How am I doing on time? I've got an hour left. I've been painting little bitty pieces. Okay. And like it says, didn't get much done, but it took a long time because they're itty bitty pieces like the dashboard and the steering wheel hub. Yeah, those those managed to take an hour and a half just to do those little bits at, at my pace of doing things. I think I'm going to attempt to paint the rim of the steering wheel. I'm actually gonna try to do that. Oh, wow. Yeah, I grunted because, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I did a lot of cleaning yesterday on my hands and knees. My hips and back and knees are very, very achy. I have to say that that's actually coming along pretty well. If you look at the real steering wheel, not the real one. If you look at a picture of the real one, okay, it looks kind of like that. There's this little logo. I don't know what that is in the center. And this one is all washed out and overexposed. I can't see what that is. I can't. There's no way I'm going to try to do that though. Just that's just not going to happen. So it's going to just have to be like this. I'm going to paint the rim of the steering wheel. I'm going to clip this on there and hold it like this and hope that it doesn't pop off. I think what I should do really is paint it inside the box. And then I'm just going to let it sit here and dry. Yeah, I was going to use this, the ivory. I have to put my glasses back on because I have to get it just right around the where the spokes attach. So I'll probably not talk again. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about. I talked about Earl Scheib and how you used to be able to go to this place and get your car painted in a day. It was a pretty cool thing. They might still exist. I don't know if they still exist or not. Earl Scheib's painting, car painting thing. But they'd tape it up and paint it just very, 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 very quickly. And they actually did a pretty decent job. Probably better than I'm going to end up doing. Yeah, I did fall silent again. I just can't keep a decent monologue going anymore. I need to find topics that and what have I been doing this stream now? 700 years or so. It's been a long time. I've covered just about everything I can think of. Just 50s and 60s television genres, nuclear Armageddon, cartoon superheroes. I don't know I don't know that there's just not much left anymore. I could I could talk about how later today temperature outside is going to be above freezing, 32 for the people in Fahrenheit, 0 for those with Celsius. It's going to be above freezing for the first time in 3 weeks. Even our high temperatures, the warmest it gets during the day, have been below freezing. It's only going to last a day. It'll just be this afternoon for a very brief period of time. And then the temperature is going to plunge again. When I mean that, it's going to get plungy. It's going to drop down to, in Fahrenheit, um, like 3 degrees. I mean, it's not going to drop 3 degrees from where it is now. It's going to get down to 3 degrees. I don't know how much minus that is in Celsius. It's a lot of minus. It's a lot of minus degrees in Celsius. But then next week we might be above freezing, um, just briefly in the afternoons again, like 3 or 4 days in a row. Just enough for all the snow on the ground to get mushy and slushy and then refreeze and get slippery. Challenging weather. If one needs to drive anywhere, it's very challenging. Well, this is unfortunate. But I'm seeing here, and here are mold seams that I thought I had cleared out. And after the paint dries, I actually am going to have to sand that. I'm going to have to do some sanding here and here, because it's just really obvious. I know it doesn't look right yet, but when I put the brown wash on, it will end up looking very close to the way the wheel looks in the pictures. At least that's the plan. But now, as I'm looking at it with the head magnifiers on, and even with them off, I can just see the seam marks on the inside of the steering wheel that I thought I had successfully cleared off, but I didn't. So I'm going to have to get a little bit of a file, I think, just clean those off, because it didn't even show with the primer. It shows with this paint, and that can't be. Well, let me recap. I painted the inside of the car black, but I didn't paint enough of it black. I painted the part that I thought needed to be painted, which is the headliner and around the windows. But when I was looking at the instructions and thinking ahead to assembly, it became clear that some of these bits, like along the wheel wells and the fenders, may end up showing, especially if the car is turned over, in which case those need to be painted black too. So I'm going to spray more black paint on those over the weekend. Um, I've got a bunch of little parts painted: the door handles, the radiator hose, the stick shift, the wheel hub, the dashboard. Okay, which actually came out looking, well, It's looking better than it would have if I just left it chrome. I do need yet to paint the door handles and the window cranks, these little bits here and here, but I wasn't brave enough to do that today. This needs to dry, and then I need to do some sanding and repainting. I just need to be really careful doing that so I don't uh, harm the rest of it, because the spokes in the hub end up they look pretty good. I'm gonna try not to hurt those. What I will be doing on Monday is fixing the steering wheel and then washing it with the smoky ink wash so that it looks like that, which is pretty close to the color of the real wheel. And then the dash, the rest of this, I have to paint the radio and the tachometer and the oil pressure and the little logo on the glove box. So I'll be doing like I did with the dashboard, is be painting some chrome. I'll probably paint the black first and then the chrome on top of it. And then attempting to paint the dials. They're not going to look like that. I can guarantee that, but I'm going to see if I can't, it depends on how well it's embossed. I don't think there's very much embossing on that. But I'm going to be painting the rest of the dash, the stuff over here. I'll be doing that on Monday. And the other thing I can be doing, I can get the chrome. I'm going to do that now. I still got some time left in the stream. I'm going to end early today because I'm feeling really achy. But I'm going to find the chrome parts of the wheels. And maybe even if I can get those ready, maybe even on Monday, I can put the wheels together. I'm not sure, but we'll see. I need to get these. Well, there's a lot of body parts that need to come off, hoods and fenders and things before I eventually start tackling the painting of the body. But um, but first, I'm going to get these wheels. There's a lot of chrome bits that still need to go on here. The tail lights. These will be a little bit of a challenge, a lot of a challenge, actually. Yeah, they're chromed, but the inserts have to be glossy red. And that's going to be a trick. On some models, these would have been open and there would have been clear red, like the transparent red that would be inserts that would go into them and they would look pretty nice, but that's not what happened here. Yeah, the side view mirror, of course, has a dimple in it. Well, let me get these wheels, the other halves of the wheels cut off, and trimmed, and then maybe on Monday I'll put the wheels together and see. Hopefully they'll go together better than the ones on the Lotus Ford. Those did not fit at all. The two halves of the wheels didn't make contact inside the tire, and they had to be really pushed under pressure. They eventually worked, but they, in the process, split one of the wheels. Not surprising because they're pretty old. That kit was way back from the 1990s. It was an old kit. And of course, they've got sprue on three sides of the wheels. Yeah, this is about all I'm going to be able to get done today is getting the sprue off of the wheels, getting them cleaned up. Maybe I'll show you how they come together. This little saw is pretty good for this because it keeps the sprue from breaking off inside the part, which I don't want to have happen. It leaves sprue on the part that needs to be very carefully filed off or sanded off. In this case, very carefully so I don't mar the chrome surface. Process. Shiny. Oh, already broke off. Great. I don't even know what some of these little bits are. Find out later. All the little trim pieces end up taking a long time at the very end. But a lot of those won't really be seen again until. Great. Almost broke that off. Most of these won't be seen again until the body is painted, which is quite a ways away from now in terms of time. We've got a lot of test fitting to do, and I need to do a lot of assembly out of order. In order to get it well painted, I need to get the back bumper, the back, not the bumper, but the part underneath here and under the front so that it's all painted together at the same time. All painted at the same time before the chrome bits go on. Yeah, so it's going to take a while to even get to that point. But little bits of things are getting done. The dashboard is mostly painted, the driver's side anyway. Um, Steering wheel is getting mostly painted, but needs to be very carefully touched up. Not touched up, but filed on Monday because I'm just trying to get the bits of the sprue off of here marring without marring the chrome. The chrome is up against the black of the tire. Those little protuberances will show. Yes, I'll be working on the steering wheel, the rest of the dashboard, including the tachometer pod. Um, maybe maybe I'll assemble the wheels and tires. This I might do that on Monday. File off the mold marks on the steering wheel, repaint it. And after it's repainted, then I will wash it so that it looks like wood. Maybe do something with these tires, the wheels and the tires, maybe. And then I don't know, I might make an effort to paint the window crank and door handles that I've been talking about for weeks and weeks and can't get myself to go back to because I messed up the first time I tried it. Maybe do that on it. Just has to be done eventually, otherwise I can't do anything more. I can't assemble the interior until those are painted. So I will do my best to do that. It's the teeniest, tiniest brush that I've got, and just touch tiny, tiny dots of silver paint to them. Try not to get it on anything else. Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe think of something to talk about. Just really feel badly about that. Having any monologue, even if it. I guess I just need to start repeating things. I did talk about Supercar, I guess, on Wednesday. That was good. We didn't talk much about it, but that was the marionette show with the car that was a car. Although during the show they hardly ever used it as a car, but it flew and it floated like a boat and it went under sea like a submarine. I was fascinated by that. I even drew designs for the dashboard with little buttons. It was button controlled in my imagination, and the dashboard that I drew with a little button that was land. You push that, and you drove around on land. Air, you pushed that, and the wings came out, and you flew. It was that simple. Sea, could have been lake or river, but I guess maybe I just said water. And then there was another button you could push for submarine mode, and it would go under the water, whether it was a lake or a river or the ocean. I mean, how else would you do that, right? Other than just a button that you would push that would make it happen. I think those bits will show. So, the way these are supposed to work is that these come together like that, and the tire is supposed to be in the middle, and they're supposed to meet up inside the tire and be cemented together, and then you've got a wheel with a tire on it. I could pull the tires out. In here at the bottom. And there are 4 of them. Yay. Oh, they clicked when I set them down. They are not soft. So I'm a little bit concerned about them splitting as I put the wheels in. You know, they've got treads on them. There's no logo. Okay, so there's no logo, but the wheels go in like this, and they don't. I don't see that they need to be cemented on because they go. It's a very, very tight fit. I'll play around with these. You can see how that looks. It looks pretty good. And they say to cement the 2 halves together, but these are in so tight inside the tire that I don't see any reason to try to do anything with cement, especially, get them in at all. But if these were soft rubber at one point, they're not anymore. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to be more careful. I'm gonna have to be careful with these on Monday so I don't, as I push the wheel in, because you can see it's not in all the way. Maybe you can kind of see the edge there. I need to get those in without breaking the tire. I got the chromed one in on that side, but the back side doesn't. Okay, so there's that. So fixing the steering wheel because the mold seam is showing on the inside of the steering wheel. It shows actually it's really not good. It's very bad. So the inside of the rim here needs to be filed down, and then I need to repaint it. Um, Otherwise, the hub of the steering wheel it doesn't look bad. It looks pretty good. There's some little imperfections, but I don't think I can fix that without making it worse. And then the driver's side of the dash is not too bad. Maybe maybe a little bit of black touch up right there. I'm not sure what I'm seeing. It's just sparking a little bit. And I might try to put a little bit more of that white chalk pencil on the speedometer here. And it looks like it's painted. It doesn't look like it's like the real thing, but um, at my skill level, it came out, I think, pretty well. set this down. I don't want it to fall over. There. I gotta set this down as well. And then cover it with a paper towel so it doesn't get all filthy over the weekend. There. Okay. Well, on Monday, I'm going to fix the steering wheel by getting rid of the mold seams, which are very, they're very, now that it's, I painted it, the ivory color, they become really obvious. And when it's washed, it'll be even more. So I'll be filing that off, filing off the mold seams on the inside of the steering wheel, repainting that, waiting for the paint to dry, and then washing it with the smoky ink, and that'll end up looking more like pretty much like the real wooden steering wheel should look. And I'm going to then put the wheels inside the tires. And as I practiced with one of them, I'm finding out that that's going to be, I just have to be really careful in terms of applying pressure so I don't split the tire. Okay, so that the wheel goes inside of it. Um, they fit pretty tightly, so they don't need to be cemented. Maybe a little too tightly. I might have to trim them a little bit in order to get them to fit without splitting. So that's something I just need to work on. I've got the rest of this. I've got the rest of the dash, including the tack pod. That needs to be painted. It's sitting over there. Let me get it now. So it'll just sit there. Oh, oh, yeah. I said I was achy. I am deaf. So this has got some masking tape on it. I masked over the parts that need to be hand painted, and that will be unmasked and painted on Monday. And this will not be here. And yeah, wheels and tires, steering wheel, the rest of the dashboard, and hopefully I will actually paint the door handles and window crank. And if this is all successful, I've got all of these parts now, including the seats. If this is all successful, I can assemble the inside of the car, which upside down will look like that. And it goes inside the body, which is over there, but not for a long, long time because the nothing goes into the body of the car until it's painted. And then I'll be, if there's still time on Monday, which at the pace I work probably won't be, if there's still time, what I'll be starting to do is pulling off the the front pan and the rear pan, these parts here and here, and test fitting them because along with the hood, they all need to go onto the body before I paint the body because the body's going to be painted white. Okay. Be painted white with a, and then I'm going to tape over where the stripe is going to go and then paint it blue so that it'll be blue with a white stripe. But I don't want to do that until the rear and the front pans and the hood are more or less attached so that the stripe goes across them. Okay. And they have to be attached in order for that to look good. And I think I can pull that off. Yeah, the rest of these are just chrome pieces that attach to that. Weird. And I'm looking for the tail. Oh yeah, these bits too. The side vents, those need to be painted the body color, so those need to be installed. Those need to be installed before I paint the body as well, because they're painted the body color, the side vents on the outside, and they're metallic on the inside. At least that's the way they look in the picture. The one picture I have, which I have somewhere, that shows the back of the car. Yeah, so um, it's coming along, and maybe next week, maybe Monday, probably Wednesday, I'll be able to assemble the interior of the car, and then get the wheels done. And if I can do that, actually, then everything on this page except the attachment of the wheels to the body, which is like the very last thing that happens, this side will be done. Yeah, and then I can flip it over and only worry about this side of the instructions. Okay, I'm going to wrap up today. Thanks for joining in, Aman. I hope you have a good weekend. Um, and yeah, sorry, just trying to think of anything to say, and I don't really have much to say other than thanks for joining in. I hope that you have a really good weekend. Those of you who have the weekend off, those of you who work, thank you for the work that you do over the weekend. For those of us who do have it off, or people like me who have every day off because they're already retired. I will see you on Monday at more or less 10, where I will be doing the things that I said I will probably be doing, or at least attempting to do them. See you then. Take care.